Hey guys, and welcome back to the Johnster Space channel. So today we're going to be going and taking a look at my black and white collection, you know. The items I've collected themed around the black and white games and their associated material. I started this collection around, early 2026. And now I think it's complete enough to where I can finally, show what the items I have in it so far are. As you can see, there's a lot of different things we're going to be going through. Plushies, games, even a book from the manga or something. And of course, some of these were obtained more recently than others, I've been building it over the last couple months, So there's a little look at everything on the table before we go through the items individually. Alright, and with that overview out of the way, let's get into the individual items. Alright, so the first item on the collection is this official 2011 Pokemon Center Reshiram plushie, or Reshiram, however you say it, I don't know. So there's a full-size plushie. Which is pretty tall, So yeah, here's a look at it. And here's his tail here, And the side, as you can see here, yeah. Now I'm not gonna say how tall or big this thing is. If you want to see the exact measurements, there's a Reddit post I made, which I linked in the description of this video, where I measured how big this thing was. But if I remember, the wingspan's about 19 inches, So, there's something I do want to note about this plushie, though. You might notice how one wing is up, how it should be standing, but the other one's kind of down, like this. Well, that's because the guy I got this from on, eBay, he said, one of the wings was, broken. So, this wing here is broken, Which is why it just lies on the ground while the other one stays up like it's supposed to. You see, because normally it would be, something like this. With both wings, up like this. But because one is broken, it kind of just droops on the ground like this. Other than that, it's in pretty good condition, For something that's 15 years old. And unlike on the smaller Reshiram plushie I have, which you'll see later in this video, the neck rings on it, as you can see, are silver. And the two rings on the tail are silver as well. Whereas on the smaller one, it's more white looking. So this plushie has a lot of great details, Got the whatever you call these things, like the spikes that come off his, these like spiky little things that come off of his, like, you know, knee, you know, the 4 spikes. Then you have like the wings, like with the four things at the end of his wings. The 4 claws on the finger. And these silver like things right above the claws. You know. And of course the turbine engine looking tail. You know, where the fire would come out of, I guess. Or something. This is like a fire type. Reshiram's a fire type. You know? You know, you can like pose it and stuff. Well, not really pose it, like when you're holding it. When you're not holding it, it just kind of, you know, sits like this. You know, the one wing down because it's broken. Oh yeah, and also his 3 clawed feet, you know. And, you know, the horns on the head with the flowing, is this called a mane or something? It, like, comes out like this. You know, he's all white with the blue eyes and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about the, you know, this first item. On to the next one. Alright, so for the second plushie in this collection, as my counterpart to the, you know, the Dragon of Truth, Reshiram, we have, you know, the Dragon of Ideals, Zekrom, you know. This is a official Pokemon Center 2011 Zekrom plushie. You know, the counterpart to the one we just looked at. So, you know, it's a similar size to, like, the Reshiram one. Although, like how in the game, Zekrom is a little shorter than, like, Reshiram. This plushie is, like, a little shorter than the Reshiram one as well. You know, this Zekrom one. So here's a look at it, you know. And here's a look at his tail, you know. With, you know, the 3 spikes around the tip of it. You know, like, look at it like here. And unlike that Reshiram plushie, which did not have a tag on it, like, it'd been taken off. This one actually does still have the tag on it, you know, as you can see here. You know, to show that this is an official one, see, that's an official tag. 2011, you know, Nintendo and all that stuff. Show you this is genuine. You know, all the stuff in my collection is pretty much genuine. You know, I like to keep it authentic, you know. So yeah, here's another look at Zekrom from different sides. So you can see a bit better in the light. So, you know, you have like his red eyes here. You have like his red eyes here, you know. The white looking pupils. And you have his mouth and a head. This like blue thing at the tip of his like mane, if that's what it's called. The blue thing at the tip of it here. You know, it sits like this. And you have like his wings here. Like these claw looking things, or like, no. They're like spikes at like the tip of this area here on the wing. Then here's a look at his hand. has the 3 claws, you know? Yeah. Here's what the bottom of it looks like, you know? Yeah. And you have his, like, 3-toed feet, you know? And Zekrom, of course, is, like, all black and gray, pretty much. You know? And here's the tail again. Where, you know, the electricity would come out of. Or something. I don't know. As you know, Zekrom's like a dragon electric type, you know? Whereas Reshiram's like dragon fire, you know? And yeah. This one's in really good shape too, you know? Unlike the Reshiram plushie, there's like, you know, nothing broken on it or anything. No, it stands fine. And like I said, if you want to see what the size of this is, you know, there's that post I mentioned in the previous item that you can like find to see the exact measurements. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Zekrom plushie. And on to the next one. Alright, so for the third plushie in this collection, we're moving on to the smaller ones. You know, after going through those 2 bigger ones. So the first of the 3 smaller ones is this Pokemon Masters EX Trainer N plushie, I think is what this is called. So you know it's a plushie of like N. It's like a bit smaller. Like here's my hand for comparison. He's about as tall as my hand. You know, slightly smaller than my hand. You know, it fits, you know, it's about the size of my hand as you can see here. So, you know, smaller than the other ones. You know, these like fit in your palm or something, I guess. Here's like the tag it comes with. It's in Japanese. As you can see, this came out in 2019, I guess. This was probably like a collection of 3 you could get. Whoever these other people are, I don't know. One of these are trainers, I think it's called Chorus or something, I don't know. See in the middle you have N here with like Zekrom, which is like his Pokemon that they show in this like collection for the plushie. Cause I guess he had Zekrom, you know. You can see there. Yeah, here's a look at the plushie. You know, he has like there's this black hat with like some white on the front. And I'll just turn it all around so you can see the different sides. And, you know, he has like his you know, I think these like blue eyes, you know, he has like blue looking eyes here. And then like long green hair, you know. For like his long hair, it's this little fabric piece that like can move around. Long green hair, you know. Then this thing he like wears around his neck, I guess. Whatever this is, I don't know. And like, I don't know what this square thing on his leg is. Something he carries around, I guess, in the game. And yeah, here's a look at like a top-down view. And then from the other side, you know, this is a Bandai plushie, which was part of the Pokemon Masters EX like series. Here's the other side of the tag. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this N plushie. So I'm on to the next one, you know. Alright, so for the second of the 3 Second of the three smaller plushies I have in my black and white collection is this Pokemon Fit Zekrom plushie. In the US, this series was called Sitting Cuties, I guess. And from what I've read online, these plushies came out around like 2023, I think, but I'm not fully sure. But yeah, this is the Japanese one though. So it's the Pokemon Fit version of it. Even though I call it Sing Cuties, but it's actually the Pokemon Fit Zekrom plushie. So yeah, here's a look at it, you know. It's similar to the bigger one, but like on a smaller scale. You know, from what I read online, these are like, they're palm-sized plushies. You know, designed to like sit in your palm. And they're called Sitting Cuties in the US because like they sit down. You know, they're in this like sitting pose for the plushie. They don't stand like, you know, the bigger ones do. So yeah, so it's like sit in your palm or like sit on a desk somewhere. Which is where I put mine. I put mine on like the desk where the other items are. Yeah, here's another look at the back of the tag. This is a Pokemon Center item as well. You know? Of course in Japanese, like mostly. So yeah, here's a look at different sides of it, you know? Yeah, this is Zekrom. It's like an up close look, as you can see here. You know, you got like the red eye again. You know, the blue thing at the tip of his head. And the gray and black body with like the arms and the wings. Just slowly rotate this around so you can see. And here's the tail, you know, the 3 spikes. He also has a spike like on his neck as well, here. Like right under where his head is on the back of his neck, there's like this spike, you know. Then like at the ends of it, then right before where his feet start, there's like spikes here as well. You know, as you can see here. Yeah, just rotate this around. Oh, and here's another tag that's on here as well. You know, show that's genuine. It's a Pokemon Center tag. And yeah, that's all for this smaller Zekrom plushie. Now on to the last plushie in my collection. Which is, you know, I think you can guess what it's gonna be. It's Vast and White. Alright, so for the last plushie in my collection, it's the Pokemon Fit counterpart, the Zekrom. You know, it's the Reshiram Pokemon Fit plushie / Sing Cuties, you know. And yeah, here's a look at it. Here's a look at it up close. That looks kind of menacing. Like he's, you know, staring you down. He's like, who is this person, you know? I have to study him. So yeah, here's his head. You know, with like this thing that goes around like his head and neck. It looks kind of like a white beard looking thing. Whatever you call it. And here's like the top of it. You have like the flowing horns coming out here. you know. It's part of his fiery look, you know. The white flowing, you know, majestic stuff. Here's the side. And here's the wings, you know, like this. And to get more light on it, I have like this other light I'm using as well. You can see here. Yeah. Here's a top-down view. Here's the bottom, you know, with the tail again. And like I said before about this plushie, instead of the neck rings being like gray, they're like white, as you can see here. We get a good light on here. And on the tip of the tail, like on his tail as well, they're like white here. You can see. And not gray. There's also these interesting like little markings here too, you know. Silvery markings like near the end of the tail. That the bigger one like doesn't have these, you know. And here's the tag. Pokemon Fit, you know. You know, you have like his blue eyes as well. Here's another look, you know. Then here's a look at the side of Reshiram, you know. And here's his mouth. You know, it looks like he's frowning. I don't know why all the legendaries frown. Like, guess they're not really happy. I don't know. Just a funny thing, you know. I noticed none of the legendaries like smile or anything. And these things like on his foot, on his like you know, his knee, like these things here, the 4 things. And like the end of the tail that like flows out like here. And here's his like arm. His arm, which is also his wing. You know, unlike Zekrom, which has separate arms and wings, Reshiram's like arms, clawed hand, and like wing is all just part of like one thing, you know? Here's a look at it down here, you know? Me shine the light over it. Here's the back. Another side view. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this Reshiram plushie. Now on to the, I think we'll do the manga next, because that looked interesting. Alright, so the next item in my collection is this, Pokemon Black and White Volume 1 manga book, you know, which you can see here. Got this pretty cool cover art. You got like the 2 people you like can choose to play as in the Black and White 1 game. They're like this boy and this girl. Then right above them you got like on opposite sides of these black and white checkered areas on the front cover. Got like Reshiram, and then like Zekrom. Then under that you have like some people I don't really know. I assume these are people from the game. Like this like boy and this girl. Like under where the boy trainer guy is. And I think this is the professor here. I think her name's Professor Juniper. I'm not sure. I haven't played the games yet. You know, I'll get around to it eventually. Then you have like the 3 starters here, like under where the boy is on the cover. You got Tepig, Oshawott, and then Snivy, you know, in this kind of like pose. And then of course, right off to the side, you have N, who's smiling kind of creepily, you know, right on the side here. You know, right under where Reshiram is on the cover. You know, kind of make you say, who's this mysterious guy, you know? Or what does he know, or something? And you know, it says this is volume 1, so this was like a series of books. Or manga, I guess. And I tell you who the story and the art was by, as well. Story was by someone called Hidenori Kusaka. Art was by Satoshi Yamamoto. And the story about how I got this book's pretty interesting. So I originally wasn't even gonna like get this originally. It was actually included as part of like another eBay item I bought, which was like this collection of like Pokemon Scholastic books. You know, it was like a 7-book paperback collection, like Pokemon Scholastic stories of like Ash's adventures and stuff. And I noticed in the collection, which was a lot of 8, I'm like, wait, only 7 of these are this like kind of book. What's the 8th one? Then when I went to the last image, it's like this black and white book, you know, which they just included as part of it, like, you know, this. You know, so it was included as part of like getting these art books. So I'm like, ooh, that's good for my collection. So I got it, you know, with this included. Here's a look at the spine, you know. It's called Pokemon Black and White. Got the one, it's by Viz Media. And here's the back, which you know, there is time to read this, so let me read what it says on the back of this manga. You know, this is a Viz book, so you read it from right to left instead of the typical left to right. Which I still find weird, you know. But yeah, here's like the pages quickly. Oh yeah. This is how like it starts. Like the beginning of it gives like artwork. Then this was teasing some movie called Pokemon Arceus and the Jewel of Life. Which is like with Ash and stuff. The struggle for time and space begins again. It says this from 2009. So this came out around 2009, I guess. You know, around when the Black and White games released. Just a quick flip through here. You know, I haven't read through this at all. I don't really know what happens here. So yeah, let's just go to the back again. And let me read what it says. A Pokemon Adventures Special Edition. Pokemon Black and White. The wait is finally over. Meet Pokemon trainer Black. His entire life, Black has dreamed of winning the Pokemon League. Now Black embarks on a journey to explore the Unova region and fill a Pokédex for Professor Juniper. Time for Black's first Pokemon trainer battle ever. You got like Tepig here. I assume that's the one he chooses. I don't know. Then it's right next to that on the white section. You know, after you read through the black section of this, you read the white one. Fitting given the theme. It says, who will Black choose as his next Pokemon? Who would you choose? So, you know, it poses a question to the reader. Like, this is what he chose, but what would you choose, you know? If you were, like, in this situation. And then it says, plus, meet feisty Pokemon Tepig, Snivy, Oshawott, and many more new Pokemon of the as-yet unexplored Unova region. This is before it was explored, you know? And right under that says, adventures inspired by the best-selling video games. So tying into the games, you know. Like I said, this was a Viz Kids book, which was rated all ages. And apparently it cost $4.99 in the USA and $5.99 in Canada. It's like a closer look at the text here. So this was part of Pokemon Adventures, whatever that book series is. You got like the black and white checkered pattern. Pretty cool. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this manga, I guess. On to the next item. Alright, so for the next item, we have this Pokemon trading card game item, which is the Scarlet and Violet Black Bolt Booster Bundle, which, you know, has Zekrom on the front, as you can see here. This was a Scarlet and Violet era item. Like from the trading cards, you know. TGC. And it includes 6 booster packs. You know, because it's a bunch. It's got this like cool artwork of Zekrom on the front. This like you know, checkered pattern like behind him, and this like black and white theme. You know, given it's, you know, relayed the black and white. The top says Booster Ball. This is what the side looks like. And here's like the bottom, you know. This is from let's see, what year? This is from 2025, okay? Here's a look at the back. It's still sealed, you know. I haven't opened this, you know. I might keep it that way. Could be worth more in the future, you know, if I keep it sealed. So it just sits in my collection for now. I mean, I have plenty of other cards if you saw like the like a different video on the channel, which I'll link in the description. Yeah, let me read what the back of this says. Explore a region of harmony and ideals. Reunite with the Pokemon of Unova and rise to the top as a trainer in a land of unity and legends. Evolve first partner Snivy all the way to Serperior EX and discover the inspiring power of ideals with the region's legendary and mythical Pokemon, including Zekrom EX and Melata EX. As you fill out your Pokédex, keep an eye out for special illustrations of each Pokemon and parallel cards, with Pokeball patterns in the Pokemon TGC Scarlet and Violet Black Bolt expansion. Expand your collection with this booster bundle containing 6 booster packs from Pokemon TCG Scarlet and Violet Black Bolt. And you know, you have like more of this white checkered pattern given the Zekrom theme. So you get like a Zekrom card, I guess, in this, which is fitting. There's also apparently like a white version of this, like White Thunder, White Flame, I don't know, for like Reshiram. But I only have the Black Bolt one, as you can see here. And it also says here this expansion contains over 170 cards. Each Scarlet and Violet Black Bolt booster pack contains 10 cards and 1 basic energy. Each player must have a 60 card deck of Pokemon cards to play. Expand your Pokemon trading card game collection with 10 additional game cards booster packs. And like I said, this came out in 2025, so only last year. Pretty recent. Now on to the next item. So next up, moving into the Pokemon Black and White games I have in my collection, is this Pokemon White version cartridge, you know. It's just, you know, a cartridge. Nothing else. It's just a Pokemon White version cartridge. And here's the front of it. So I'm gonna quickly pop this thing in my DS and I'll show you like you know, how it boots up and stuff. Also the region code on this thing is a TWL-IRA0-USA. And this is a genuine cartridge, you know. I got from eBay. Alright, so I got my DS here. It's an original silver model one. You can see that has the GBA slot and stuff. You know. Yeah. And it is modified to have like a capture card in it for like, you know, when I want to record on PC without using an emulator. So yeah, let's pop, you know, you can see because it has like these USB ports. USB ports here. Which a normal one would not have. So yeah, let's pop the cartridge in here and let's see what we got on this like file, you know. So there's the game, so I'm gonna select it. So you got Zekrom there in the title screen, you know. This cool intro that would play. Kind of like shows his features and stuff. And you get that classic music. And when I press the button, he like roars, you know. Okay, there actually is not, there's no save file on here, I guess. See? Just says new game and stuff. No save file, you know. So yeah, that's pretty much all this cartridge was. Like, no progress on here. So that means I could start playing on it at some point, I guess. You know, for my playthrough I plan on doing. And on to the next game, you know. Alright, so for the next game in my collection, it's this Pokemon Black version. You know, Lucario Target, like, variant. There's like this special case on the front, and this is like a case with a game in it too. You know, it has the cartridge in here and then the game. I've showed this in a test video before, which I've linked in the description. But now you get a little bit of a better look at it. You know, it's basically just the same game as the regular one, just with a different, like, you know, slightly different case here with like the unlock sticker for Lucario. You could flip it around to get the original cover. Then on the inside there's like a code insert, which I'm not gonna show in this video. I'm still planning on doing like a full decade video on this at some point. So I won't be on this too long, you know. Just, you know, open it up inside and show you what you get. You get like your Pokemon Black version cartridge. Here. TWL-IRBO-USA is the cartridge code. Let me see. Can I get the light on here? You can, yeah. You can see like the NTI-031 on the back of the cartridge. Genuine, like, you know, black cartridge. You can even see the code number on there. Then put that back in the case. And you have like your instruction manual here that has Reshiram on it. Something interesting I noticed about the instruction manual is this. Like, yeah, it's pretty much the same artwork of Reshiram, but unlike on the case here, the tail is just like all white here. But on like the manual, on the manual's version of Reshiram's artwork, you can see like this red like on his tail. You know, show his fiery, like his fiery stuff. It's part of the artwork. You know, with like the glowing red on his tail. For the flames, I guess. Yeah, this is just, you know. Oh yeah, and like I mentioned in the test video, it's 73321B on like the manual. The regular one has A at the end of its manual code, not B. Something else different from it. And of course, this was the main insert here, you know. For like, you know, unlocking Lucario, like the code insert's on the back of this, you know, thing you flip over, which I'm not going to show. But yeah, well, this time I will read what this whole insert says. So my other black copy doesn't have this insert. It says, when Reshiram and Zekrom meet, what will happen? The legendary Pokemon Reshiram appears in Pokemon Black version. You know, which is the game that this is. Use Zekrom in a battle with Reshiram and find out what happens. And it says new Reshiram, because this was new first time. Category, Vast White Pokemon. Type, Dragon Fire. Ability, Turbo Blaze. Height, 10 feet and 6 inches. Weight, 727.5 pounds. So it gives you like the Pokemon stats for Reshiram. And like this image of them battling from like the game, I guess. Oh. And then like this thing inside about how to befriend Lucario. Listen, I'm not gonna read through all this, you know. Save that for a whole decade video. I will read this part though. The official Unova Pokédex and Guide, Volume 2. Pokemon Black and Pokemon White version games offer trainers an incredible collection of over 150 brand new Pokemon. Step up to the challenge. This is like a guidebook you could get, I guess. Volume 2, you know. There's like a physical book you could get, as you can see here. And it also says bonus password included for an exclusive Muna Seagear skin. I think the Seagear is like that communication thing you have in the game. There's also promoted global link. Okay. So yeah. That's all this is with the insert. Now I'm gonna put this all back in. Close the case back up. And on to the next item. Alright, so for the next game item, it's just a regular copy of Pokemon Black version. You know, no special Lucario variant or anything. Just, you know, the regular normal game. As you can see here, with this case with the game inside of it, you know. So, you know, you have Reshiram on the front as like the mascot of this version on the artwork. And here's like what the back looks like. Now here's the interesting part. There's actually a not for resale like case. You know, unlike the other one I had, which is just a, you know, normal. This is an NFR one. So you can see there, not for resale, which I found interesting. Yeah, let me read you what it says on the back of the game's case for Black version. A new world filled with never-before-seen Pokemon. What are the true motives of Team Plasma and the mysterious N? What is the secret of the legendary Pokemon? Adventure across the Unova region and discover all new Pokemon. The game changes with the seasons. New battle strategies and moves. Then it shows some pictures from the game. Including one where you talk the N and he says, "I'll defeat the champion and become unbeatable," unlike AR. Then you got a picture of Reshiram, this fiery looking place. That says enhanced gameplay. Use infrared connection to quickly trade, battle, and play with others. Visit the Pokemon Global Link website, www.pokemon-gl.com, for extended gameplay. So this was promoting their service they had back for online play, which doesn't work anymore. You will need a Pokemon Trainer Club account and also a Nintendo DS system and computer, both with internet connection. And under that's some text, a little more text about the game. And then you have this artwork of the starters here, the two people you can choose from, the trainer boy or the trainer girl. So this would be Trainer Black from the manga. But I think on that book he looks a little different. I don't know. The people on there look similar to these trainers on the game. And this had 2 to 5 player wireless DS multi-card play. For playing with people locally and battling and stuff. And here's the bomb, this came out in 2011. And it says, let's see here. This is Pokemon Black version. The types and likelihood of Pokemon that will appear differ from Pokemon White version. This game can communicate, battle, and trade only with the various language versions of Pokemon Black version and Pokemon White version. After completing the main story, you can communicate with Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver versions, English language versions only, to transfer Pokemon to this game. The Pokemon transferred in this way cannot be sent back. This game is not compatible with the Pokewalker accessory. Basic reading ability is needed to fully enjoy this game. Another close look at that. So yeah, let's open the case. And inside, as you can see here, we have the game cartridge, which it's just the same as the Lucario variants cartridge that we just looked at. Same cartridge and everything. Then next to that, you have your instruction booklet. So like I said, it has these red parts on Reshiram's tail that the other artwork does not show. This cool hexagon looking pattern here. It has this hexagon looking pattern, as you can see. Then if I open up the manual, you can see the little warnings and stuff. This tells you some additional details. It is not possible to communicate with the Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, and Nintendo GameCube Pokemon series titles. This game is also incompatible with the Wii title Pokemon Battle Revolution, the WiiWare title My Pokemon Ranch, the Nintendo DS series Pokemon Ranger games, and the Pokewalker accessory. And this is the table of contents. Your adventure begins. Object of the game. Main characters. Basic controls. Starting the game. The menu screen. About battles. Catching Pokemon. Training Pokemon. Buildings in town. Various items. Transfer Pokemon from previous Nintendo DS Pokemon series titles. Communication, Pokemon Global Link, and troubleshooting. So yeah, this is the first thing that tells you how to play, I guess, you know? Yeah. In the manual. Your adventure begins. Yeah, okay, I'll just quickly read your adventure begins. In this world live creatures called Pokemon. Pokemon come in all shapes and sizes and live in a variety of locations. Humans and Pokemon have lived together in harmony for ages. Nevertheless, there are still numerous mysteries surrounding them. In order to find out more about these creatures, many scientists, such as Professor Juniper of New Town, so see, that is her name, I did, right, have dedicated their lives to Pokemon research. This had a thing where, like, the seasons change, you know? It was like a unique feature. Spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Yeah, that's a look at the manual. Not reading through that, it's like 50 pages or more. I will quickly boot up this, the cartridge to see, like, if there's any save file on here. I don't think there is, but it's always good to check, you know? Yeah. Let's put that in there and start up our DS. I'll run through the intro like I did with white version, then we can check. This was cool for its time. Still is. So you got like Reshiram there, you know, on the title screen. They even blink, you know, on the title screen if you wait, which is a cool feature. She's flowing here and stuff. She like zooms all around and stuff, yeah. If I press the button, you know, he roars and then like in check. Yeah, this is another one that doesn't have any saves on here. Just have new game and stuff. Another empty file. So yeah, that's it for this look at the Pokemon Black version. The second game of that I have in my collection. And on to the next item. So the next game item in my collection is a full copy of Pokemon White version, you know, with Zekrom on it. Yeah, I showed the cartridge before, which was separate from this. Now here's like a whole thing, you know, which has a cartridge and manual inside the case. So here's a look at it, you know. Here's a look at the front of Zekrom. Was the mascot a white version? No. Also, something cool they did in these cases is like they put a little silhouette of like the main legendary at like the bottom of the spline of the case, which you can like see here. You know, on the Reshiram Black version one, there's like a little Reshiram silhouette here. And here's the back of it. You know, it's basically the same as the black version's back of the case, except the color on it is mainly white instead of black. You know, since this is white version. On black version, most of the stuff is like, black background with white text. Right here it's a white background with black text. And you know, the image shows Zekrom here instead. Coming out of this like electric ball looking thing, you know. Assume this is like from a cutscene that plays when you encounter the legendary in the game. And yeah, it's like the same thing on the back, you know. Let's open it up. So you know, you have your white version cartridge here. Then you have the manual, which like the black version's one with Reshiram, you know. It's basically the same thing, but with like Zekrom instead, you know? Yeah. I like how on the Reshiram's manual, you get like more color in like the legendary's tail. With Zekrom's one here, you know, his tail's like has these glowing blue parts on it. Which on the case it doesn't show that, as you can see here. It's just black and gray. But here it's like, you know, black and then where the gray would be, it's like glowing blue. Show the electricity, I guess, given his typing. It's just the same manual and everything, you know? Yeah. The table of contents and everything. But with Zekrom instead and like the white checkered background. With the hexagons on the manuals booklet instead of like black checkered. I'm not gonna I don't believe this cartridge has like a save file on it. I mean, I guess we can quickly check, you know. You know, we just did this with the R1. Just gonna quickly check on here. You know, not go through the whole intro again. We've seen it twice. Yeah, there's no save file on this one either, you know? So yeah, that's this Pokemon White version case and game in my collection. Now on to the next game. Alright, so for the next game in my Black and White collection, it's actually 2 items. One is a Pokemon White version 2 case with like a game and manual in it. The other one is just like an empty case, you know? Like a second one. But there is something I did note about these. One of these is an authentic case. The other is like, you know, a reproduction case. Which, you know, looks pretty much exactly the same. But the colors are slightly off, which is how I figured out, like, you know, it was a reproduction, not like an original case. So could you guess which one is like the original one? Alright, I'll give you a few seconds. If you guessed this one was the original case, the authentic one, then you're correct. This one on the side next to it as well. You know, a reproduction case. One way I easily figured it out is like, if you look on this reproduction, like the text on like the ESRB ring here, it's like more blocky looking and stuff. Like the image on here looks more blurry for like the text and stuff. Whereas on the authentic case, it's like more clear, as you can see. It's like crystal clear compared to it. You know, no blurriness on the text or images at all. How I, you know, realized this was an authentic white version too. Whereas this was just a reproduction. You know, a Pokemon logo on the real authentic one is also like a, you know, a different, more of a lighter blue color here. There's like more dark blues, you can see. So yeah. I'm just gonna like, read the back of this one. This is black version 2, No, white version 2. This is white version 2. It has white Kyurem on like the front of it. And if I open it, you have like your manual and then the cartridge here. There's this other one, it's just an empty one that I just have as part of my collection. If I buy like a second white version 2 copy, I'll probably put it in there. Yeah, here's a look at the white version 2 cartridge. The cartridge's code is TWL-IRDO-USA. This is an authentic cartridge. Then you have like your instruction manual here, which compared to like the black and white version 1 manuals was thinner, Yeah, your instruction booklet as it's called. With like white Kyurem on the front. And you see like the artworks, it's like a more zoomed in view compared to the case on the manual. With like this fiery looking background. Cause like white Kyurem's the fusion of like Reshiram and Kyurem. So it had like the same fiery elements and stuff. But fused with Kyurem, Oh yeah, the table of contents looks a little different too. This was from 2012, the sequel. So this is what you get in the table of contents. Basic controls, starting the game, Unova link, the menu screen, the battle screen, transfer from previous Nintendo DS Pokemon series titles for transferring Pokemon, communication, C-Gear, Pokemon Center, Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, Pokemon Wi-Fi Club, Global Terminal, and that promotes, Global Link for like the last page. This manual's only about 20 pages long, or 19. The first game's one is like around 50, so it's like half as big. That tells you stuff about what you can and can't do with it. And like the first games, this had 4 seasons as well. This instruction booklet explains how to play the game on Nintendo DS, DS Lite, DSi, or DSi XL systems. However, you can also play the game in 2D mode on Nintendo 3DS systems too. There's Pokemon White version 2. The types and likelihood of Pokemon that appear differ from Black version 2. Pokemon Black 2, Pokemon White 2, Pokemon Black. Pokemon White can communicate, battle, and trade with each other. Here's like a little flip through the manual and stuff. It has starting the game and stuff, You can see there. So I'll put the manual back in here. Just read you what's on the back of the case, Now, 2 powers combine, a new legend arises. Set off on a new Pokemon adventure to save the Unova region. You and your Pokemon can accomplish anything together. So, this was like Unova 2 years later. You could film movies at Pokestar Studios in the game. And it had a new story. You went back to Unova, but like a few years later, some stuff changed. And then it says, enjoy trades and battles with your friends using infrared or DS wireless communications, and with people from all over the world using Nintendo Wi-Fi connection. Let's see what else is on it. Transfer amazing legendary Pokemon from the Nintendo 3DS download software, Pokemon Dream Radar. Game and system sold separately. Then it tells you to visit the Pokemon Global Link website for extended gameplay. Like what it says on the Black and White 1 game. Then you got like some pictures here. Like a battle with White Kyurem. You got 2 years later, the movie thing. Then you got like White Kyurem, like from some cutscene maybe. A new story with some guy who holds a book. Then, you know, the starters from the first game returned, you know. But, like, the players look different for the girl and the boy trainer. Once again, 2 of the 5 wireless DS multi-card play. Then, you know, the things at the bottom. So, yeah. Let's, you know... Let's see if there's a save file on this white version 2 cartridge, you know? Yeah. When I pop in my DS, you know. So launch the game there, you know. It had a different intro with similar music and stuff. Like Kyurem there, you know. Where it like shows you it and stuff, you know. If I press the button, you know, it'll like howl, and then we check the save file. It actually makes the same sound Reshiram does from the first game. Kinda show it's a fusion, I guess, you know? Yeah. Yeah, there's no save file on here either. So yeah, that's all for like white version 2 in my collection. Now let's move on to like yeah, the last game in my collection, you know? Last game, Pokemon Black and White game item. Alright, so for the last item in my Black and White collection, that's like a game item. It's this Pokemon Black version 2 game and case, you know. So here's like a look at the the spline of it. You know, with a black Kyurem silhouette on like where the text is. Here's like the front of the case, you know. Black Kyurem. Just the fusion of Zekrom and Kyurem. And on the back, whereas like in white version 2, it's like has like a white theme on the back. White and orange theme on the back of white version 2. Whereas in this black version 2, it's like a purple and black theme for like the text and stuff. It was basically the same as the other one. Because that shows an image of battling black Kyurem instead of white Kyurem here, you know. And you get like another image of it here too. About, you know, 2 powers combine, a new legend rises, all that. Because they combine or something, I don't know. And now here's the inside of the case. The cartridge, which has a region code of TWLIREO-USA for black version 2, as you can see there. Here's the back of the case, back of the cartridge, you know, yeah. And here's the, here's like the instruction booklet for Black version 2. Like I said, it's basically the same as White version 2, just with, you know, Black Kyurem artwork instead. And, you know, this, like, cool electric theme, you know, given the fusion. Yeah, basically just the same thing, you know. Just shows Black Kyurem here and stuff. Now let's put the cartridge in, and actually, if I remember correctly, on this cartridge there's an impressive save file that someone had. You know, from the person I bought from on eBay. All these cartridges are authentic, you know, in my collection. If I remember, this Black version 2 one specifically has like a really big save file. So, you know, let's put it in and check it out. Not playing though, because I'm saving that for when I play through the game myself. But yeah, let's go to the title screen and I'll show you. Let you listen to that music for a minute. It's pretty good. Black Kyurem on the title screen. So this is from 2012, you know. Why was the music so intense though? Oh well. There he is. You can see here on this guy's save file, his name was Blake. He had 8 badges, 62 hours and 37 minutes played, and a Pokédex of 427. So this guy must have played it a lot, you know. Which I found to be pretty impressive. I don't think I want to delete that file. So I might just get another Black version 2 cartridge at some point without that much progress on it. As I want to play through it myself, you know, not use someone else's. Yeah, this guy did a lot, as you can see. He was on Route 5, I guess. So yeah, that's a look at the Black version 2 game and case in my collection. And on to like the last 3 items. You know, we're getting near the end of all these items. Alright, so for the next item in my Black and White collection, it's this Pokemon Trainer Guess Unova Edition game. You know, which I showed in a video previously. But now you can see as part of my Black and White collection, you know. You know, like it's shaped like a netball. I assume those debuted in Unova, you know. Here's a look at like the bottom of it. It's from, let's see, 2024, so only 2 years old. Then it came with this guide as well. To check off like Pokemon you'd guess in the game. There's all sorts of stuff in here, you know. Oh, Electros is from this too, I guess. Also, Excadrill. See if I can find what I'm looking for, though. Try to look for some legendaries, you know. Okay, so there's Reshiram. Okay, compared to how its artwork looks in like a different version of this like trainer guess game that has Reshiram in it as well. The artwork for here is different, as you can see. Shows it like flying, you know. You know, Reshiram. Then here you have like Kyurem, you know. You have Kyurem here, which later fuses in like the sequel games with them. Now let me find Zekrom, you know. Here's Zekrom. Here's Zekrom here, you know. Zekrom, right under him is Zoroark. You see, Zekrom's 9'6". Reshiram's like, you know, 10'6", so he's like a foot taller, which is reflected in the plushies as well. So I'll play like one round of this, you know, quickly. You know, to guess one of my favorite legendaries, which is Reshiram, you know.
Hello, trainer. Are you ready for your Pokemon journey? I can read your mind and guess which Pokemon you're thinking of. You just have to picture it in your mind and answer my questions. If I can guess which Pokemon it is, it will be added to your electronic collection. Think very hard of the Pokemon you want me to guess. Say okay when you're ready.
Okay.
Super. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Answer yes, no, or I don't know. You can also say it depends. Does it have pointed teeth?
Yes.
I see. Is your Pokemon mainly white?
Go back.
Does it have pointed teeth?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Does your Pokemon have one or several horns on its head?
Go back.
Does it have
It's not
pointed
hearing me.
teeth?
Yes.
Okay. Does your Pokemon have a mouth?
Go back.
Does it have pointed teeth?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Is it mainly yellow?
No.
Interesting. Is your Pokemon mainly black?
No.
I see. Does your Pokemon usually stand on two legs?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Does it have spikes on its body?
I don't know.
Okay. Can your Pokemon evolve into another Pokemon?
No.
Okay. Is it a dual type?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Is your Pokemon weak against water-type moves?
Yes.
Can you repeat?
Yes.
Say that again.
Yes.
Can you repeat?
Yes.
Say that again.
Yes.
Interesting. Does your Pokemon have stripes?
No.
I see. That's it. I got it. If I'm not mistaken, you were thinking of Ambor. Is that it?
No.
Okay. Is it weak against electric-type moves?
I don't know.
I see. Is your Pokemon a mythical Pokemon?
No.
Uh-huh. Is it a legendary Pokemon?
Yes.
Can you repeat?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I think I know. I believe you were thinking of Reshiram. Am I right?
Yes.
Great. We found Reshiram. Did you know that Reshiram helps those who want to build a world of truth? Let's add it to your collection. Done! Now don't forget to check it off in your field guide. That's your very first Pokemon. Congratulations! Let's try to guess a new Pokemon now. Look in your field guide for ideas. We now have one Pokemon. There are 155 Pokemon left to find. If you want to hear the full list, you have collected Reshiram. Let's try to guess a new Pokemon.
Alright, so as you can see, although it didn't hear me that well, after, going back on a few questions until it could hear me, it did guess Reshiram correctly. After, winning correct guess. So yeah, that's a look at this game, And I'm on to the next item, Okay, so for the second to last item in my black and white collection so far, it's this white Kyurem, figure of, a legendary Pokemon. So here's a look at it. Got his tail here. But this is like a fusion of Reshiram and Kyurem. So it has elements of both. Has gray from Kyurem, and then these white parts here is from Reshiram, I guess. So yeah, here's a look at the figure, And you can you can pose his arms. You can pose his arms here. You can also pose his legs and feet too. Pose his legs as well, You make different poses and stuff. So you want to do something like this, Could do that. But I just like to keep it posed like this, cause it looks good that way. If you do this, you can pose this way. It looks natural, Here's a closer look at the head, Yeah, his tail is kind of like Reshiram's tail, but it looks kind of like an upgraded version of it. Which I guess happens after the fusion. I don't know what causes that, honestly. I haven't played the game yet. Like I said, Yeah, when I saw this at the Toy Vault store in this mall I was visiting, I thought it'd be a good addition to my black and white collection, so I picked it up. Anyways, on to the last item in this video. We're going back to some ideals for that one, Okay, so for the last item in my black and white collection, it's this Zekrom model kit, figure that I built in, a previous video. So here's a look at it, It's Zekrom, but in a model kit form, like a model of it, So you can move the arms forward and back here. When you do that, it causes him to roar when you move the arms forward and back. See, like this. Like what you saw on the tele screen of white version lets you do something similar where he's roaring. And see here up closer. Also lets you pose the arms, as you can see here. It's a pretty accurate Zekrom model, you know. You know, this model also has stickers on it for like the eyes and stuff. You can see here, and also the knees. Those black knees. And yeah, that's the last item in this video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Look forward for more videos coming on this channel, you know. See you in the next one. This is Johnster signing off for now. Now I need to go get some sleep, you know.